Tony Stallsman. Ron Page.
Here.
David Nebel.
Here.
Joe Kaiser.
Here.
Susan Heck.
Present.
Okay, a moment of silence, please, for all our fallen brothers and sisters. Okay, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, or is there any modifications we're going to make to it?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a motion from Ron to approve the agenda, seconded by Susan. All those in favor? Aye. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's your time to step up to the mic for 3 minutes and address.
Let's approve the minutes.
I'm trying to get through this.
Your two-time holder is in place.
Okay, approval of the minutes from September meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I have a motion by Susan to accept it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Joe seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we have our 3 minutes of property owners discussion. Please step up to the mic up front. Anybody want to speak? Okay, on to the old business. Special planning committee update.
The special planning, the study group met and had a productive meeting, and we had a productive meeting, and many things were talked about. And what? And we decided that by the December meeting, we will have a list of things that we're going to offer to the Suburban Improvement District to think about doing, and to talk to Betsy about one particular line item for a budget, and then we'll meet again in November, so we're set.
Moving on, item B, quick claims for the 2022 foreclosures. What do you have for us, Betsy?
So previously, the commissioners had voted for us to no longer sell property for the quick claim fees, as we were doing before. We've got a situation with the 2022 foreclosures. You know, previous to the lawsuit, foreclosures were done every other year in an odd year. So 2021 would have been that year for the foreclosures. Because of the judge signing the agreement in October, all of those foreclosures got pushed to May of 2022. And what I'm finding, it's more than just once, I would say right now, less than 5, but I've had different people that were able to go online with the county and pay their delinquent taxes within a 5 to 7 day period after the foreclosure was actually recorded. You know, in the past, if you somebody bought your lot, you had a 10-day window to be able to go in and redeem those back, and then that sale was voided. But a couple of years ago, the Commissioner of State Land stopped doing that. So, you know, I believe that we should be quit claiming some of our interest from that foreclosure to those people who actually paid the delinquent taxes to the state. We didn't receive the money. It's not any money coming to us, but they will not record that deed because it's just a limited warranty deed or a quitclaim deed from the state. So I've had several of them come across. I tell them, you need to contact Commissioner of State Land. That's who accepted your money. They are the ones that you paid after the foreclosure. But every one of them were participants of the 2022 foreclosure. May of 2022 specifically. So I is foreclosed, so we can show proof of payment. And the proof of that payment is on the state website. It's obvious that they paid it.
Officer said you want permission to do it.
I want permission to be able to quit claim over our interest to those property owners who pay those back taxes. I believe they should not have been foreclosed. That's my personal opinion. And I don't know how else. I talked to Fulton County, I talked to Sharp County. They will not record a warranty when all they've done is pay the delinquent taxes. But the delinquent taxes are liable to foreclosure.
Do you want permission to be able to quit claim the property owners who pay their back taxes?
Involved in the 2022 foreclosure.
Okay.
Involved in the 2022.
So I'm talking about a whole lot of people.
Like I said, it's,
Maybe
right, I
it
say
does.
less than, right now I say less than 5. But people are saying, hey, now I'm delinquent again, what's going on? And I'm paying taxes and it's not my problem. Why am I not getting a tax bill? Because it never goes to them when they just get that quick claim. It still shows us as a foreclosure.
Thoughts? Joe?
Well, I'm not excited about that. You know, I would see really not any way to get out of that other than doing a quit claim deeds. So that would be my opinion, is to follow through with what she's saying, because it would release, it's not like it's hundreds of lots, but it would release what's there, and that would end our responsibility in the future, right? It's not
Well,
gonna happen.
it would give them their ownership and then they would start paying their assessments.
But it's not going to come back in 2023 or anything like that.
It should not.
This will be the end of it.
Just this 1 year is what we're talking
That's
about.
what,
Just the ones that I'm finding these problems with are problem lots that they were able to go in, like May 22nd was the foreclosure, May 29th they paid taxes online to the county.
Susan, your thoughts?
If it's, I don't want it to become a burden, I don't want to open a can of worms, but to make it easy on the people that they're doing the best they can, I think it's a good idea.
I mean, I feel like they've got a leg to stand on when they have proof, when I can go on the state website and see their receipt for payment. And you know when it's a credit card receipt, because there's the people in there. So they're going online and paying them. And for a while, you know, that was the system. If my property was being foreclosed and you bought it, I had 10 days. I got a letter from the state that says someone has paid your taxes or has purchased your property. You have 10 days to redeem it. And then that sale would be over. You know, we had people that complained they didn't want to buy property in Cherokee Village because people could come back and redeem them. It was just a big mouse wheel. So since that changed, you know, I think this kind of falls under special circumstances.
Ron, your thoughts?
it's only a couple, and I think for the good of the community, it makes more sense. I'd like to know the actual cost to SID to do the quick claim
$75.
per claim.
Yeah.
Are we asking the property owner to pay that when in fact that's what's going to occur?
I think we should. I think they would absorb that cost to get their properties back and have full ownership.
I don't mind splitting the cost with them as another opportunity, but I think they should pay you the $75, frankly, to get the quick claim recorded and correct, because it does take time and effort on your part, or our part as well.
Okay.
Tony? Okay, I need a motion then for Betsy to go ahead with this.
I'd make a motion for Betsy to proceed with the current cases for this quick claim with the existing property owner situations. And they pay, and the property owner pays. Period. Okay, so I don't know.
Do I have a second?
I'm second.
Joe seconds. Any more discussion? Then we have a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the
I
fire.
heard you say that they pay.
And they pay.
They pay.
That's the motion.
Okay.
Okay, on to the
warehouse lease example is your next attachment. Right underneath your One of the things that y'all had asked of me was to look and see what the insurance was on that building or on those buildings. Oddly, 2 weeks ago, the municipal league showed up and went through and walked all of our buildings again. So for February 1st, we're going to have all of the new up-to-date rates. So I think that we should hopefully wait and maybe do this in January and see if we can get those rates out of them for those buildings before we put them out on here, because I anticipate an increase. He actually told me to anticipate an increase.
Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is review these and bring it back to the next meeting, any changes or anything?
And then we're waiting for the new insurance rates to come.
Okay,
Yep, back on all business.
so I need a motion to put this on old business.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll be happy to say that.
I got a motion from Ron and a second from Susan to move it to the
I
next.
don't know.
Huh?
Okay.
November meeting, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, waste management, land purchase offers. I see, waste management is here today. Yeah, there he is. Would you like, we need one to address this, or are we going to carry through the lease?
Well, so here's what I think needs to happen next, and maybe they can help us. I went out, I see you guys are here. I went out and drove up Appaloosa. I believe that's one of the subdivisions, or a portion of the subdivision that is included in maybe all three of yours. We don't own all of that subdivision. So reserved land, like the land that's around the airstrip, is ours, but those subdivisions are not. And then the lawsuit came through and our commissioners chose not to pay all the taxes and keep all of our inventory current, like had happened for all the years that we were previously managed. I think a lot of those lots are sitting in the commissioner's saying. I drove through there this weekend.
They show up as SID owned, so that's
They show up as SID owned,
not. Yeah.
but we're not paying taxes on them. So what I'm saying is that they're probably delinquent and not something, they're not reserved properties. Like across the street was the animal shelter. That was reserved property. Appaloosa is a subdivision. And so as you pull through, it does that circle, every one of those little things on there. There are some lots that are individually owned in there. Did you look at all of those lots?
I mean, we just went to the courthouse, we come back to you guys, so.
Yeah. Well, and then as you come out on the other end of that Appaloosa, there's some houses there. Yeah, coming out. So that's kind of where I did that big loop right there. And you know, I can't go on Arkansas County data and pull up anything in Fulton County with maps. But I think that I need to pull up that subdivision.
Because everything on the 30, I think it's 32 is the lease amount, everything on that would be north of that road. There's nothing, there'll be, you have 2 driveways off of it.
They come up behind y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, I pull off on both of those. I could see it, you know, in the distance, but one of them was a toll, and one of them was a road that kind of went down further beside y'all where I could see back in there. So I feel like, I feel like if the commission is even going to consider it, there's more research that we need to do. We can't just sign off on something that I don't believe that we own all that. There may be a portion of that that may be ours, but it's not reserved property, kind of like the animal shelter was. You know, that was reserved SID property. So I'm concerned about plat maps that might would give us some more definite information. Have any of y'all gone out there and looked? I know Susan said she and David had gone out.
We went out and the first maps that you gave us that were highlighted, David and I drove some of those and it involved a little trespassing, and we drove through those on those lines that you drew. And on all three propositions, that it looks like there are property owners who are active property owners who will be impacted, no matter if you just use it for a green space or if you decide it needs to be a drainage tank or a sludge pond or something else. I am hesitant to sell or lease you the property because I see the houses that you're far enough away that it wouldn't be a problem really and truly if you did what you said you were going to do and nothing happened. But I just, and maybe I'm being too emotional about the property owners on that place. I want to protect them and their future use of their property. So I am just against it totally. And I don't know whether all that property is SID property or reserve or it's delinquent. I didn't check any of that. I just drove by the highlighted areas.
There's only 4 houses right there.
Yes, sir. But one of them might be mine. It's not, but one of them might be mine, and I don't want to say I live in front of the dump.
So the Appaloosa Circle, where the 4 houses that you're talking about,
They're on the road.
And the big one up on the hill, and then there's the rock one down, and then you've got the few that are on the actual road. But your
See, on
other projected,
we're on the other side of that Appaloosa Circle. We're not even across it, backing up to the houses. We're on this side of the circle.
with all 3 of your proposals,
With the least amount of.
with the least amount of proposal.
We would be cornered on 29 and Appaloosa, we corner there, and it would actually drip, the lines would drip one north, and we'd be pulling away from that road. It would mainly just go around the real area.
What I'm going to recommend is you get with Betsy, you two get together and figure out exactly what we own and what you need, and then we'll bring it back at the next meeting, and we'll get this thing resolved one way or another.
Because I understand what the lady's saying, and I promise you, we're not looking to get next to somebody's house. That's, all thing we're wanting is people not to come in and off us.
The lots are back up, they back right up to the landfill.
And with the urban hunt, which is good, Jerry, don't get me wrong, you guys needed that. But that's what we have our issues with that urban hunt right out there.
We'll do that then. Get with Betsy.
I'll talk to y'all and
We'll get
let me do a little
it
research.
figured out. Okay?
That's going to show you understand the impact.
Right, that's it, the impact. Okay, next, remedy on Omaha winter golf erosion.
Well, so since our last meeting, I have attempted, I spent $1,100 on the attempt to correct the erosion on the hill of the miniature golf. We trimmed all the trees back and did all that. I spent $700 doing that. But it's going to take probably another month to see if the hydro seeding, which is what we did. We did the juke bed and then did the hydro seeding over it. And right now we're just going through the watering process. So kind of like sod, it's going to take a little bit to see if it's going to work. But that's all that we've done. That's all the funds that I've spent out of what was approved.
Okay. Demolition of the Oklahoma pool.
Gave y'all a copy. I think I wrote demo at the top. It's actually 3 companies, but the last 2 proposals, those are 2 separate companies that are going to work together. The biggest expense, I believe, there's your time and their equipment, but that's a lot of concrete. Fencing, where's it going? And we don't have any place to dump it. And if it goes to the dump, it gets dumped by the pound. And that's thousands of dollars. I property, that's what the difference is in your first quote and your other two quotes, is that one of them has a place that he can take all that rubbish to, that's not very far from the Omaha Center, and that's included in their bid. So I think they're two bids together, am I right on there on the front?
Right, last two.
I think I read it on the front of one of them, what the total was together.
You know, where are they hauling materials to them?
They have a ravine, they have some land with a ravine that they're going to take the materials to, private property that they own.
Okay.
And so that's not going to cost us that per pound with all that concrete. You know, they're going to fill in the pools with dirt, they're going to seed, they're going to take down all of the plumbing, the concrete, the electrical, all of that will be gone. It will be a fresh, clean space to decide what happens next.
Discussion. The Southern Lawn Care one year said removal of all off of all the concrete debris. Did you just say that we didn't know where they were doing that with?
No, what I said is it's two companies.
Right.
One's gonna do the demo and one's gonna do the cleanup, the seeding and all of the backfilling. So those two together.
Long Dozing is going to do the demolition stuff. And then
he's gonna
Southern's
do
going
the
to come in
cleanup.
and they're going to remove all this stuff.
We're gonna work together. So those two together,
Right. So they are taking it somewhere.
actually Southern Lawn has the place where it is, they're taking it to.
CW Services.
The other quote was we're going to pay for that to be removed. Debris would be disposed of off-site.
I don't want to, I do want to ask this question. The second, the stapled together pages have got a ravine someplace they want to dump the concrete.
So you got a bid with Long Dozing and Fencing and Southern Lawn Care. Their quote together is $88,242. One's going to do all the demolition, one's going to haul everything out of there and leave the ground prepared and seeded. The first one on the top is CW Services, and theirs is $115,495. They were our quote last year that was around 80, or maybe a little more than 80, but they were going to put that concrete in that diving pool and use some of that to backfill, and so having to haul it off and remove it is what our additional cost is.
Well, I think my question is, and just because I've been reading the environment and stuff lately, is if this company or this company hauls the stuff off and puts it in a hole someplace, and something happens 5 years from now, and they are questioning, where'd you get this concrete? Or is that going to blow back on us if we don't? Are there any rules and regulations about burying used concrete? I guess.
I don't think concrete's hazardous materials.
You know, and if it shifts, if they build on it,
Are they not putting it on their own properties somewhere?
Their own private property.
is it their own private property? Okay, not just a ravine then.
I'm not dumping it just like after dark.
Well, I just would hate for,
But I don't think it's hazardous material, so I don't think that it's something, I don't think they're going to bury it to start with.
okay, I mean, then I'm fine with it. If we're, I'm good.
Does this include the pool house too and everything like that? So, the only thing I can see would be hazardous is probably chemicals that are in the pool house. Have they all been
There's no
disposed?
chemicals like in the pool house.
What about that?
There's nothing
Is
there.
it sand or diatomaceous earth that's in those filters?
Sand.
Does that need to be hauled off someplace special?
They rank chlorine.
If there's any way I can save those filters, I'm going to.
Yeah.
That building itself is dangerous.
Okay.
Right.
So the adult pool, all the fencing that goes behind the fitness center and comes down and divides that little section off, it will stay. Everything else, concrete, adult pool, pool house, kiddie pool, all the bottom deck, all the fencing around the bottom deck, all of those light poles, everything will be gone.
Okay.
Plumbing, electrical, everything.
So if we approve this, when can we get started?
Yeah,
As soon as possible?
in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Any discussion, Joe?
I like the combined bid there.
local company, or a couple of local companies, which is something we really want to do. So, and beautifying that area, it's time. We're going to get some hit because there's no pool, but if we beautify it, people can use it, that'll be wonderful.
So I need a motion then for that second proposal for the 88-242. I need a motion.
I need to make a motion that we accept the bid between Southern Lawn Care and Mike Long, those in the fencing to demolition of the Omaha pool area.
I second it.
Okay.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Oh, one of our favorite subjects, mediation concerning the docks on the Winnebago Trails. What day was that we went in for the hearing?
On the 30th of September, Monday the 30th of September.
We went in, Parker's southern docks that are way out in the lake, 45 feet. We have them in litigation where the judge has ordered us to mediation. So we're going to have to go to mediation, and my take on this is mediation will be in Little Rock again. I attended the last mediation. I don't plan on attending this one, but what we need to do is with the lawyers, have Betsy there representing us, the SID, as us, commissioners, so we can get to this mediation. Now, my take on it is they want us to pay. We're not going to pay. My take on it is they should go back to the dock manufacturer that stated that the docks is lit, the pontoons and the boats would fit in that code. They didn't, so he automatically kicked the dock up 16 more foot. That's what we're in this about. He's out past the 34-foot limit. He's out 45 feet, which hinders a lot of the other people in the code. So when we go to mediation, it is my intention to have Betsy there, as I said, and our lawyers, and explain what our circumstances are in this discussion.
Can I speak real quick?
Go ahead.
So I think basically what the attorneys and we have discussed, or I have discussed, is that with the commissioner's permission, I will represent them at the mediation. They have set the date for November 21st in Little Rock. And once an agreement has been met, it would be contingent upon a special meeting and a vote by our commissioners.
Correct.
And that's the way
And we believe that that will cover all aspects of any question that may have come from the last mediation. And this is all advice that's been given to us from our attorneys.
Okay. I mean, instead of any of us going with you and making it look like we're hiding something, if you go and represent us and come back in a special meeting, that's the way to do it and avoid all the hoo-ha.
Correct.
Okay.
So when you be able
The
to,
senior partner is the one who made this recommendation, guys, Mr. Tall.
Correct.
So you have to consider that he has some experience more than perhaps some of the attorneys that are relatively new to litigation. And I believe that looking at his recommendation makes more sense in this mediation, other than I believe, and God, I'm probably going to get struck for this, the judge should have been able to make a decision.
Yeah, well, yeah, we think
Yeah, we agree with that. Okay, so I need a motion for Betsy to represent us at the mediation.
okay, I need to ask, I want to ask quickly.
Sure.
So she goes to mediation, but we're not hiring an outside mediation person, right?
No,
You're
same
our
thing.
mediator.
No, I just represent Sid at mediation. It's this Rick Ramsey guy, the same guy guy that did the mediation for the waterworks in Little Rock.
We'll have him there too.
He's the mediator.
Right.
And we'll be in one room and they'll be in the other room and he will mediate between us. At the end of the day, we will come to some sort of agreement that will be contingent upon a special meeting for the
So we have
commissioners.
to pay this mediator, right?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
I believe the last time we paid that mediator was $3,000.
Yeah, a couple hours worth of work. I'm
It was
gonna
an
sign.
all-day event. When we got there in the morning, and we were pretty much hostage until we left after 5 o'clock. They had brought the lunch in. We weren't allowed to leave.
Is there any room for new mediators? That's sort of $3,000. Something that the judge should have handled. But anyway, I want to refrain from saying smart comments. I promise I'll watch you do that. But yeah, okay, I understand now. So then we'll bring back that information in a special call meeting. Okay, I understand.
So do we need, okay, then I make the motion that we let Betsy, not let Betsy, but have Betsy go in our behalf and sit with the mediator and the lawsuit to come to a decision contingent on us having a special meeting, period.
So would we like to set a special meeting date?
I believe so.
The following day, 21st, I'll be in Little Rock, Friday the 22nd, because that next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What was on
The
21st is a Thursday,
Thursday.
November 21st, and we'll start at
Are
9.
we sure they're going to do that, or are they going to continue it after that day, or are we sure?
No, the mediator,
It'll
he makes you stay there until it's done.
And I think
Last time what happened, Joe, is we left with something that said, okay, here's what we agreed on. So we will leave there with something that says, okay, if y'all agree and they agree, then this is going to be what happens. And if not, then we just didn't come to an agreement. And that's what they'll have to go back and tell us.
And I think it'd be prudent to go ahead and schedule a meeting with the expectation that it doesn't
You got a
get
motion?
forward. Yes.
You got a motion, Susan,
Yeah.
second.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Joe second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Now,
What's the date?
And for special meeting on Friday the 22nd,
Friday the 22nd.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
North Golf Course.
What time are you saying?
4 o'clock, North Golf Course,
Okay.
Friday the 22nd.
the
Don't
22nd.
we want to do it any earlier than 4 on a Friday?
Well, I'm gonna probably bring it to cafe.
Oh, never mind. Okay, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Unless you want to do it at the cafe, you know, everything.
All right, that works. Okay, so y'all want to vote on that too? You want to vote on the special
Okay,
meeting?
I need a motion for a special meeting on the 22nd at 4 o'clock, November.
Let me just say, we have that motion.
You want to discuss it?
Just
I
said
thought we
it.
were discussing it.
Yeah, here's your
I would just
two.
said it, I mean, you gotta have a special meeting. Yeah, we don't have to put a motion.
Yeah, we don't have to do the motion,
Just set the,
but it is set, okay.
the special meeting set.
4 p.m. on the 22nd. Next agenda, lots on Thunderbird, Omaha, erosion and silt removal.
So I put y'all together a nice little packet that starts with the Omaha lots, and you can see where the 2 stars are. That's what Mr. Radovich provided for me. And then you'll see the next ones are 2 lots that are in the pre-subdivision on Thunderbird. And I went ahead and printed off their parcel data info from Sharp County, which kind of tells you what the width of the lot is to the water. You know, a little photo to show you what it looks like. And I think that we have determined from speaking with Mr. Klein is that
Is Bradovich here?
Mr. Radovich lives in Wisconsin. He was here the last time. He sat right here last time. out and looked at the lots from the water side of Omaha because of the elevation and how we were back in that cove. I just don't know that it's the right thing to do.
And
I went a step further. In part of this lawsuit with Parker and Southern, we had to do some research about dredging and silt removal and a lot of that. And what it says is that if you remove that silt, then it has to go in some type of sleeve. They put them in these round tubes. They have to lay them on flat land. They have to dry, and then they have to be removed. Otherwise, you just take it off the ground and put it on the ground. It goes right back down to the lake. So, I've learned a little bit about that. His lot, the elevation he has me concerned. He's got a lot of trees. But I asked him the questions. He's got a backhoe person that's been around, he says, for 30 years. It's not someone I know. It's someone referred to him by his realtor, which is Southern Pines. He's told him that he could clear out some trees and get down to the water on lot number 10, which is 2 lots over from Miss Ingalls. And if you go and look at Miss Ingalls' dock, her dock is slid all the way up as far out of the cove as she can get it. Otherwise, there's not enough depth. And your marker's floating over there saying rock. So it is bedrock. Now, there may be a little silt on there, but that rock's not going anywhere. And so I just didn't see that being a good thing. So I asked Mr. Klein to go over and look at it, and I sent y'all his report on what he thought. I feel like, and I know that Mr. Radovich, they've owned these lots a long time. They didn't just buy them and buy them on an auction and not see them. They've owned them on Thunderbird since 2006. But I think they're trying to sell them. And so they're trying to get that Lakeview waterfront, and it's just in a really snobby place. Back in a little hole. And there's a drainage ditch in between the two on Thunderbird. So I don't know how that could ever be improved. That's always going to be that drainage ditch.
It can't be done on Thunderbird. I've walked it. That's solid rock back there. There's no way you can scoop that out of there. That's solid rock.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Lot next to me.
y'all have to make a decision on how y'all want to
That's
do
you
it.
there, guy, you're out this
We,
I'm around the corner.
I think we open ourselves up to a huge can.
That's just me, next right there.
These 2 to the right, or 3 to the right, on Tishomingo, the first one, Gray Square, it's dark.
Yeah, I know where that is.
And the neighbor to the left, who happens to also be a city employee, she's the same way. She can get a boat to one side of her dock, but not to the other.
Where is
It's
it?
really low.
No,
that's
Tishomingo there.
She's on Winnebago. But yeah, she's on the other side of that, so.
I think if we were to vote to do this, that sets a precedence, I'm afraid, in the future for anybody that's dissatisfied with the water depth in front of their docks, purchasing land, they can go in and demolition, dynamite, dig out, whatever, to make it suitable for their liking. And I just don't think that we can do that. According to our lake management guy, it's not a good idea. You have to do something with the silt. I don't know where you can do it. Actually getting to it would be a nightmare, and how you're going to get it out there. Here's my personal take on it. I'm not going to be a smart about this. It is a nature type of a thing. You can't control nature, and it has filled in over the years. I've fished those areas for as long as I've been here, which is 14 years now, and it's not much different now than it was 14 years ago. So. Yes, it could get silted in some more, and I understand that erosion is a bad thing, and it happens, but these areas are locked in with trees and structure and grass, and so it's not like they're bare ground that are silting in every time it rains. So my personal opinion is that we do not need to do this, just to not set a precedence in the future. Now, future commissioners can change what we do now, but I would personally be opposed to this proposal.
And I think in the past, what it's been is that tentative permission in some cases, but I think it's a case-by-case thing. So it's really not a precedence not to do it or to do it. It's with permission. So I think that kind of covers us. You know, the other thing that Mr. Klein talked about was that, you know, we decide to do drawdowns and go through the lakes. And even at that time, what we're talking about is pushing that silt to the center where it's the deepest part of the lake. Not trying to get it out of the lake and remove it and store it and all of that, but to push it to the center and pump it towards the center where we don't have to have the concerns of it coming back. So I think that, you know, really that's the way to do it, not this other way. But I don't know that that's going to be the time frame that Mr. Radovich is looking for.
But I think that's the smart way to do it. I mean, we can't, like, was it Joe that said it, but if I have a lake lot and somebody else is digging out 11 inches of silt, and I think, well, I want 12 and a half inches of silt removed, and I don't have the same guy. And the thing that we were reading was about if you disturb the lake bed, there's a whole lot of liability. So if this guy that wants has the backhoe, has got $5 million worth of insurance, can prove to us anything, but I don't like the idea of a property owner doing something that's just, every property owner needs to have the opportunity to do it. So the time to do that would be when we draw down the lakes. And we've got 7 lakes, and you were talking about setting a drawdown like each lake every 7 years. It hadn't been done for a long time, so we're not going to start with Thunderbird because that's not where our problem is, but maybe put, you know, Thunderbird real close to the top of the list. And if he had some hope, it might be helpful.
Well, and I think too that, you know, we know that these concerns are out there. This is part of, you know, the lawsuit. And so we're hiring a lake management company to come in with that experience, and this is their suggestion. So to me, if we say no to a property owner that they can't do it, then that just means that we've got to step up and make decisions to do that, whether that's in next year's budget to start your first lake and get the ball rolling. But I think that kind of shifts responsibility back on us to do something sooner than later. So I agree with both sides. Let's just make sure we keep following our lake management, you know, plan and do that stuff.
Will you hold your comments till the end? I'm sorry. Please hold your comments till the very end.
You'll have an opportunity at the end to express your comments. We're working with you now.
Are you Mr. Goodman?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so recommendation is not to have them dredge, right?
And I think it's probably going to start with Mr. Radovich, but that we need to make some kind of a motion or a rule or a law that says no matter who asks us to dredge, that it's not going to happen until the drawdown of that particular lake. Or am I thinking?
I think you're jumping ahead. I think you're jumping ahead on that. I think right now he's asked for permission. Y'all give a recommendation that we're not going to allow it to go.
Right.
And if we're going to make changes to something about lake rules, then that needs to be put on the agenda and changed to that one.
Okay. All right. I'm good with
To
that.
be clear, is he just asking for silt removal, or is he looking for actual digging into the bed?
Well, he just wants to remove all the vegetation and the silt, and he looked at our lake management report, and it says that there's approximately 11 inches of silt back there. If you look at the photos that I sent you when I took the picture into the cove, the house on the right has a dock that's literally sitting on the land. There's no water. It has a little john boat that's sitting on the land. There's no water. And then to the left, 2 lots up is the neighbor.
Can we let people dredge or remove silt?
Never.
No.
No, I don't believe that's true. I believe prior to me being here, that there were properties or property owners that were given permission to remove silt. And what they were told is that they could put their equipment on their property and they could not go any further than what their reach was, and silt was all that could be removed, not rocks or anything else. I know of 2 incidents
educated me a little bit on the lakes would be rolling over in his grave right now because he never believed that any of that should be done. That was his position, and he was here in the very beginning and the formation of Cherokee Village and all the lakes. God rest his soul.
Okay, so, now we're gonna go, I need a motion then.
Well, I say your motion is your recommendation to not approve for Mr. Ryder's request.
Which my motion is, we want, I need somebody to make that motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion, what you just said.
Do I have a second?
Let me see if I can put this, that motion to deny silt removal.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Susan, second. Second.
Who seconds? Ron second.
Tony did.
All those in favor?
I didn't second. Ron second.
I believe Tony.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, boat fishing updates.
Okay, I would say this goes to the Lake Committee report. Did y'all happen to catch a copy of that I sent this afternoon? If not, it is in the very bottom of your stack. And so they are asking questions about wanting to go fish from their docks, that they can stand on their dock and look down and see these huge carp, and they want to have permission to be able to try and eradicate those carp. Again, I went to Mr. Klein and asked his permission. He was shocked that only one team participated in the boat fish. He thought we would have more people participate and that maybe the April tournament would have a better turnout. But what his concerns were about allowing people to boat fish from their dock was, one, misidentifying actually what they're supposed to be killing and what they're not supposed to be killing. Two, is that if the rope on their bow would extend over into their property or their neighbor's property, so that there would have to be, 20-foot limit or 30-foot limit on the road that they would be able to do. And he also said, you don't want to pull them up on their property and leave them laying and becoming a nasty mess. So he really didn't think it was a great idea, but he said, if this is what y'all want to let people do, put some rules in place. So that's what the boat fishing updates is for. Do we want to allow that? Do we want to wait until April and see what we can do to promote a bigger tournament? Do we want to open up people, let them kill them from their dogs?
Here's my personal take on this. I was with the guys, we had a group of guys that went out and the carp eradication night, and was with them for a couple of hours. They were very professional, knew what they were doing. It was kind of a new game for me. I'd never been around that before, but it was very interesting. And they got somewhere around close to 400 pounds the first night that they did it. And the following weekend, they shot a little over 400 pounds of carp. These carp were so large that it was absolutely spooky when they would get them and bring them. They would have to have 2 harpoons to get them. They were like sharks. You would pull them in and throw them in a gigantic tub, and their heads, and I'm not exaggerating, were 1.5 feet wide. I mean, they're like monsters. Now, not every single one of them was that big. There were a lot of them that was that big. So I think it was a very good success for Omaha. I have since been to Omaha since then, and it in no way affected whatsoever the population of carp. There's still millions of them in there. So my personal take on this is, if we opened it up, there wasn't a lot of people in the community real interested in going and doing it. I don't know why. This particular group of men that went has asked me to ask the board if we would give them a special permit or something that would allow them at their leisure to go bow fish any of the lakes in Cherokee Village for a year. Let them do that. On the flip side of that, I can't see how we could personally go wrong by just opening it up to Arkansas Game and Fish Commission rules. They're the ones that govern, believe it or not, they govern our bodies of water. We could allow bow fishing in all the lakes according to Arkansas Game and Fish Commission rules and be VW. And then if anybody violates or anything like that, it's on the Game and Fish, because they're the ones that's supposed to regulate it. I know that Horseshoe Bend does that. They have open, you can vote, but they probably don't have 3 people that shoots carp on a regular basis. So I was really surprised how a lot of people came out of the woodwork to do it, but there isn't evidently not a real big interest in doing it. So I would like to throw out those 2 proposals, either let Wes and his group do it. And here's the thing, is it would need to be a year-to-year basis. Both of the 2 men are 84 years old. And they're more agile than me. I'm telling you, they can do it. He's a law enforcement, he's a deputy sheriff. I mean, if you want somebody that's really only got enough to do it, he's the guy to do it. And they have researched their lights and all that, and so they're not offensive. I did get emails, I got contacted by people that they were shining lights in there, and they were, highlighting their night clothes when they were walking through their den. And my response was, go to Branson or close your blinds. Because it's just 1 week. But we need to think about that. These guys have certain times that they say are better than others, and they're not going to get that many carp, but whatever they get would help. So either do that or open it up to Game and Fish Commission rules and let it go. That's my opinion.
My only thing is, like you said, they're doing it at night. People are going to complain about the lights. If we just let anybody go out there and do it at any time, that's going to be our main concern is people out there with the lights on.
Would there be any way for us to advertise that they can check in and sit before the close of business on any given day, so we can at least?
I don't know how you do it.
But Joe said there's not going to be that many people doing it.
Right.
They did think that, because they didn't even quit till daylight the next morning, and then begin to see carp around daylight. So they were like, man, we need to go here in the daytime, and there'd be a whole lot easier to see, and they wouldn't have to run a generator. So, I think you would really limit your harvest if you said you can only do it during daylight hours, but that's an option. That would eliminate, or you could cut them off at 10:30 or something. I don't know. Or you can just set, I don't know, it would take a lot of work. We'd have to let the lake committee work on that, but
We got to get rid of this carp.
I think it was a very good success. I'm excited about it. I thought it worked. I wish we could have a whole lot of folks, but we didn't. The tournament thing doesn't seem to interest them one bit. All they want to do is shoot carp. So they don't care about the money. They just want to go out and play and shoot carp.
Maybe we can set it for 1 week in the month.
Yeah, that'd be and they cleaned their stuff up. They took those nasty things with them. And being the nice guy that I am, Wes brought carp to the store that he had smoked on the smoker and filleted, and we ate it. And it literally was like eating the bottom of my shoe. I ate it and pretended like I enjoyed it, which also resulted in another bag of that came in last week. Anybody like some smoked carp? I've got some. They're just nasty. That's all I'm saying. They're just gross. Some of them were so large that they would hit them with their arrows. The arrows would bounce off and it would come back and they would have a scale the size of a silver dollar.
Oh my God.
Stuck on the arrow. And it didn't even penetrate the fish. So, I don't know. It was a blast to run around the boat with them, but they do know what they're doing. They're very good at it, and they just live to shoot those dumb carp. So, anyway, I wish we could do something with it. I don't know what I really don't know what the answer is.
Would we motion to push it to old business and let the lake committee give us a better suggestion of how they would like to?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to involve them in all of us.
Okay, so we're going to move this to the Lake Committee for recommendations. No new business this month, so let's move on. Betsy, financials.
Financials for September, I've got them set up on the table up there. Pretty simple and basic. I didn't see anything that stood out or had any big questions for us. Again, if you have any questions, I will say we're a little behind on our assessment expenses, we're right on the money or below in every area, but if there's anything that y'all have any questions on, there was one expense that came out of our restricted golf account. That's the account that we put our proceeds in from our golf tournament. The last 2 years, we put in $21,000 into that account. There was a little money that was in there to begin with. And the committee voted to put up the new cart signs that are out on the course. And so that cost of those signs for both courses came out. That's your $2,484 expense that you'll see on that. Again, if anybody's got questions about those. In speaking on that, we just had our fall ball tournament. The fall ball tournament is the second tournament that we do each year. It's the tournament that actually raises money for the golf courses. The first tournament that we do each year that Sid puts on is for our property owners. It's a very inexpensive tournament, so all of our property owners can participate, and we give 100% of the money back to the expenses or in cash payouts for that tournament. The second tournament of the year, which is the one we just had, is the one that we raised money for the golf course. We had another tournament that was going on in Mountain Home again this year. We only had 12 teams participate, but luckily we had, do you have that sheet in front of you? $7,525 was our profit. $75.25 in profit. So we didn't get as much profit as we've had in the last 2 years, but we didn't lose anything. We still had a really nice tournament. The cafe was able to cater it. We had a lot of great sponsors, and I'm real proud of what we were able to do. On the side note, if anybody could say a prayer for Mr. Dewey. He is our golf committee chair, and he is not feeling well, so he needs some special prayers.
South course repairs.
South course repairs. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday each week, George has been working on framing in the windows. We've got our quotes for glass. We've got our glass ordered. The exterior of the building has all been painted. The gutters and downspouts, everything's been repaired at the cart shed and at the golf shop building. So it looks really good over there. Nobody's been by there. The guy that did all of our painting, he does the best job of any painting I've ever had. And he did a great job over there as well. Once those windows are finished, then that's pretty much all of our South Course projects. And that will finish off what we budgeted for this year.
Everything's except for the windows.
Those windows that go to that little deck. They're being replaced, and George is boxing those in. If you notice in the golf shop, they had little boxes that went up 3 feet, and then the window, the ones that made the corner to the restaurant, the glass went all the way to the ground. So all the rain that bounced off the concrete hit those window sills, rotted those sills out. It was structurally not very smart. So we boxed them, and now it'll all match and have that same.
All right. And of course, everybody's seen the new paving on the north course.
It's like driving on the button. We started our striping. We will have to finish our striping probably next week. We've got all of our paint and stuff in, but our striping machine failed on us after we got our fire lane done. So it will not go to waste. We've got a new one coming in, and we'll get the rest of the parking lot striped. And it looks great.
And also our legal action
You've
for our bond repair.
you've got a copy of the letter that our attorney has prepared and sent to Mr. Buchanan, who we hired to repair our pond here at the North Golf Course. He has failed to meet his contractual duties. We have negotiated back and forth since February. My time was running out. I had no choice but to take some action. So we're going to move forward with legal action with that, and we're going to put a haven't heard anything back yet. That's just all happened in the last 7 days. So those are just copies for y'all and to know what we're doing. And y'all see more people out there measuring and looking at stuff.
Okay, 2025 budget update. Okay.
So S&S gutters is your first attachment that I put in there, and that was actually left from our last meeting when we said we needed a second bid on gutters. If you'll look there, the next bid was $9,000. So S&S has the good price. Weather may play against me. I awarded the paint contract for the exterior here. I wanted to go on and let them paint it so that the new gutters would be put on after the paint was done and all the rotted wood was replaced. He's tied up, the painter is. I don't know, but I'm going to be able to get it painted before we get to the winter weather. So I'm just going to put these gutters into my budget for 2025, and I'll put it in there for February or March. So if we get delayed that far on our paint job, at least the gutters will come right in behind it. But I wanted to follow up with those gutters.
S&S didn't say, didn't put on what size gutters they were going to run or anything, which.
They're replacing with the size that's over there now, just no trees.
Are they 6 inch?
No trees, yes.
Then again,
He's taking the trees with him.
Yeah. Yeah, because the metal roof definitely needs to be a 6 inch.
Yes.
Okay, so.
The last quote that I have in this package, and this is not something I've always brought to the board. You know, normally when I do my budget, I go through and I get my bids and then I put my budget together and we go from there. This year I have 4 companies who are bidding for the landscaping. And just a little bit of history, you know, I came in 2021, and our first season of 2022, we eliminated our park and recs department and all the employees and the cost and the insurance and the equipment and the gas and everything that went with the headache of trying to cut all of the grass around here. And we brought in a professional company from Jonesboro, and this place looked the cleanest it had looked in years. Sadly, that contract and what we paid them was public for everyone to see, and someone local came in and was able to come in with a lower price and we went with a local company. I said in 23, just because my price went down a little bit does not mean that my expectations went down.
I've got 6 bids. Is that what I'm looking at?
No, you have 4.
4 bids.
You have 4 bids.
Okay,
I
so
put them in order from smallest to largest, so your first bid is going to be, the first bid was our current landscaper. This is B5 high rated, so that was your second one. This is your third one. American Lawn Care was your first one.
okay.
And then Bennett is your last one right here.
This is the lawn care bid.
Yes, this is his references and all that.
And then,
Yeah. Anyway, 23 was a learning year. You know, I think that the problem is the same problem that Sid had, that most companies around here have, is finding people who will come to work every day, who will show up and do a job that they're getting paid for. It's the problem that Sid had. You know, you can plan your whole week and then half your crew doesn't show up and your whole plan changes. And I believe that has been the downfall of our current landscaper. He has the best intentions, he has equipment, and he does not have steady employees. And so, last 23 was a learning year. This 24 has been not a good year at all. And it's really hard to write that big check every month and not get what I paid for. So I had the 2 companies in the middle came in. One of them, well, both of them, honestly, they were very close in their bid. I think that they're a good bid, but again, they do not have the experience. They do not have commercial experience. And 15 parks, 7 dams, the marinas, Omaha Center, Thunderbird Center, Cactus Park. If you don't have a schedule, if your equipment's not running, if you have a couple of rain days and you get thrown behind, you're done. You never get called back up. You can only pray that you're going to have a drought and it's not going to grow for a little bit. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. The last company is the company that we used in 2022. They put a crew together. They are the most expensive, but I will tell you, when you write that check, you get everything you're paying for. The other thing that I am able to negotiate with him a little bit is that he is wanting to leave some equipment here. And so I can negotiate some storage fees for his equipment at the campground that we're building. So that will offset some of the costs. I don't think it's something we have to make a determination for today. I'd like for y'all to look over all of that. So we can bring it back to the next meeting, but I am actively working on 2025's budget. I just started last week, had equipment together, but that is something that will play a big role in it.
You gonna make the motion?
Can we make a motion to move the landscaping to new business or old business next month?
Correct.
Please.
I have a motion by Susan to move the landscaping specs and bids to next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
Joe, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Lincoln.
I wrote in that Lake Committee meeting minutes that I just attached with y'all's stuff. Lucinda sent that over to Friday after I had left, and you know they are good to me. They've got a good group of people, and I need to make sure that every month that we have their minutes on the agenda, and y'all get to see those before we come to the meeting. They're making suggestions. I don't want them to feel like they're not being heard. They're really putting together a nice meeting minutes and giving us suggestions, and I'd like to make sure in the future we got that on the agenda. And I've sent y'all a copy of it.
So, well, and reading these minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth paragraph down, members living on Lake Omaha reported. Can the Lake Committee do anything? Have we done anything about that particular address?
Well, so
Is there-
what are you going to do about them having a wake boat? That y'all, wake boats are allowed. So does it say specifically that Omaha
Just
does not?
Thunderbird is what we have in our bylaws,
I believe
and they have to stay within the buoys on Thunderbird. So there's no wake over in Omaha.
And so no water in the ballast gives them no boat action at all.
Right.
They can't use their boat, period, at Omaha.
No, they can use the boat, but no wake boat. Low
Putting
ballast.
water in the ballast.
Yeah, no,
Correct.
low in ballast.
Okay.
I think we spent 2 meetings.
Discussion.
Well, I know that we did hash that out, but I didn't think it specifically said that just Thunderbird. Thunderbird, you could use your wake boat in between your red buoys.
Yeah.
But on Omaha, you can still have a wake boat, you just can't fill your ballast.
No ballast.
Right, right. So I understood the complaint was the boat was out there, not that it was wings or.
Oh, okay, then maybe they didn't whole thing.
Yeah. Am I wrong about that?
No.
Is it doing something more than just out there in the water? Okay.
They can ski,
Right.
tube, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
I have noticed, and this will be something we have to discuss at another meeting, that the water level at Omaha seems to be surprisingly low. And I understand it's a drought, it's dry, but we did get like 2 or 3 inch rain, nothing happened, we come up. So my personal fears are is that we have another underground whirlpool or something that's leaking there.
Yes, sir. We do. We do. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk about that. Actually, we have the same thing going on at Navajo, and it's
Yeah.
at the spillway. spot right underneath the concrete where it's coming through. I think what we can do is sandbag off that spillway where the dirt is, clean all that, fill that crack that we had talked about before, and then go in and do some concrete repairs there. Same thing at Navajo, where the leg meets the concrete beginning on the upside of the spillway. The water is going up underneath there. Now that it's dry, you can see up underneath that little hole where the water stands, where it's leaking down in there. So we did identify that this week as well. Could be some concrete work. I'm going to put it in my budget, but now that the water is down, it's time for us to get that done before we get to spring.
And would there be, just a head thought, Brian, would there be a possibility of raising the spillway levels on some of these lakes that are supposed to be problem with silt? Let's say we raise it 8 inches or 10 inches on the spillway, so the water would have to come up another 8 or 10 inches before it spills over. That would give people another 8 or 10 inches of water, it really would increase the fish habitat and all that. Is that a possibility, or are we restricted?
I think we got to check the core.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think an engineer would have to be able to tell us how that
I think
would
it's
go.
based on the size of the water and all that.
Right.
I did finally hear back from Jeremy, the engineer that we had talked to. You know, those businesses or companies have merged together. He has handed us off to another engineer in their group who's going to have more time to be able to give us some attention now. He says he'll work with him as his schedule allows, but that's the best that he can do to get things started for us sooner than later.
Also, Mr. McCoy that lives on Omaha, Craig McCoy, he frequents the store. He came in the other day, rarely do I say something that I think is a tremendous idea, but he came in with a fish habitat deal that he had built out of a plastic vinegar container, like a 55-gallon container that held vinegar, and he had made a fish deal out of it that would be phenomenal to put in the lakes for fish habitat. So that would be something I want Mr. Klein to look at. But he said he could build enough to put in most of the lakes for $600 or $700.
Wow.
And he's willing to do all the labor and everything to do it.
Yep.
And there's just a 55-gallon barrel with wings cut out of them in different areas, and then the bottom would be good for catfish. Would be great for crappie and bass.
Just sink them?
Just sink them, yeah, in the lake, and they would never deteriorate. So possibility. I did want to bring that up. It's a really good idea.
Have you been by Omaha Marina to see that the building's gone?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, and boom, raised right back up.
Yeah, it was
As soon as that weight came off, it lifted right back up. I actually talked to Wayne.
Craig McCoy, is that what's here in the minutes for Lake
The
City?
lake, yeah, it's in
Yeah,
there.
he's on the way.
So Betsy,
I spoke to Wayne because, you know, we had said once we got the building off, that we would remove those concrete sections of that dock and pull that out of there. He says now it is popped back up like it is. He's going to give me a quote to see about putting a cover over it, doing a handrail around it, maybe a couple of picnic tables,
Good
and let people fish from that side. You've got your handicap accessible dock on one side, this would be another platform. He said he thought that he could put encapsulated styrofoam around the four corners so that when the older stuff continues to sog down, it will drop and he can get it out of there and then put new stuff underneath it. He'll get us a price together, but originally y'all had approved me to have to pay him $10,000 to get that out of there and to do something different. My guys removed all of that. I don't think we paid $500 to the dump for what we had to throw away, and we made about $200 at another place for all the scrap that we scrapped off of it. So I think, you know, we would come out way cheaper and have a nice little area where people can use to fish from.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll keep everything going.
Any more
Does
discussion?
that mean you're going to shoot club?
So
69 Wyandotte Drive,
Thank
Can you spell your last name?
L-U-N-D-I-N. I purchased the property in 2022, I've been working on it. I plan on moving down here next year. I need a new pier. My neighbors have a really nice pier. I'd like to put in a pier just like theirs. I went to the city office, I got all the requirements for the pier, the permits, all that. I have an old pier that I was trying to remove. I can't even get my boat to my old pier. The sill buildup is more than 3 feet. There's only about 6 inches of water.
Where on Wyandotte?
69 Wyandotte Drive. I invite all of you to come take a look. I walk. No, I need to remove the pier.
I live over on Tishman.
So there's a large sill buildup in that cove. And when the wind comes in, you have waves of mud. Not to mention, in between the properties is a city park. Nobody has ever done any work in that park. It's just unbuildable land, basically. Okay? There are several draws. When it storms, you can watch leaves and debris just flow right into the lake. So I'm here to ask for permission to pump to sediment out from underneath my pier so that I can get a 16-foot aluminum fishing boat to it.
You want to do what?
Is this your approval for a dock? Or are you saying
No,
you
this
got
is the
approval for
paperwork.
a pier? Oh,
I
okay.
paid working with that.
You said you got approval for a pier.
No, I got the paperwork. I got everything so that I can put a dock in according to the rules that you guys have.
Yeah, yeah.
I really like some of the piers. I took a ride around and I looked at piers. It's like $30,000.
When you call a pier, you're talking about having them sit, or the legs down into the ground.
No.
What do you call, just call it a
He's
dock?
talking about a dock.
A dock.
Okay. When you say pier, I think it's something
I'm from
different.
Wisconsin, we call them piers.
Okay.
So, no, I want permission to pump that sludge out. That's what I want.
Where are you gonna pump it to?
Well, there's several draws. This park has several draws, and when it storms, it flows all the leaves and everything. So it'd be nice if we could start, I would be willing to clean up leaves and debris in the park to prevent it from happening. Well, maybe we could redo the draw so there's one drainage draw, because there has to be drainage from the hillside.
I know where
Through
through
there.
there.
Well, there's several. So what I like to do is block them off, fill them in, and just have one drainage.
And we should have, if we do it right, we should probably put a retention pond up there to catch everything before it goes down into the lake, if we do it right.
Some kind of baffle system in there where you could come in with a leaf sucker and suck leaves and debris out, or a skid over bobcat, yeah.
And I think you're calling it a park when it's erosion. It was there for that water to flow. There's several of them around the lake. It's not really a park, it's just reserved property where that water flows through.
If you pull up the map, it says park on the map. I mean, I don't care what you want to call it, you can't build on it.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll take a look at it and see.
Is that the code of the 2000 they got cleaned up?
No, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's both.
Right.
he's, I know where he's at. Let's see what he's at.
Any one of the houses that are on that cove have deep sill buildup. I mean, it's deep. It's like quicksand. You couldn't swim.
I've got my pontoon bag there stuck.
So, and when I purchased the home, it was lakefront property. I'm not looking to resell this home. I'm looking to live there. So I would like to put a new pier in, and I'd like to be able to get a boat to it. Dock.
I know what you're talking about now.
I got your address, I'm taking a look at it.
Okay, that's all I
Or like somebody else in your country.
So we could backfill some of this park. So we'll put something in, and then just have the drainage go to one spot.
Thank you.
I don't think if you can't hear me, let me know. I can raise my voice a little bit. My name is Ron. My wife Lisa McCullers. We live next door to this gentleman who's just up here. Our address is 63 Wyandotte. And it's basically the same issue. First time I got in the water, I brought a pontoon, we was already there in the dock. Had put new labels, new numbers on, registration numbers. I just hopped over the side, thought that water was 5 or 6 feet deep. First thing I noticed, I was standing in silt this deep. Unbelievable. There's about that much water in the top of it. But it's clear at the time. He's right. There's somebody somewhere, we need to get that stuff out of there. Like one of the things you said, somebody brought up is, let's just push that out into the middle of the lake. It's where it's going anyway. It's coming down off those hills, but it's running right out there and it's just dropping out. But there is a channel through there where the water is just a little bit deeper, but it's still not very deep. But I don't know why we couldn't get a pump. Set that thing out there, put 500 feet of hose on it, sink that hose, pump that silt right out into the lake where the fish would enjoy it. It's something to live on, but I'd just like to know who I can talk to about this, about what do I have to do? Whose regulations are we talking about? Is it Arkansas Game and Fish?
No, it'd be Sims regulations. Let me ask you a couple of questions. So before y'all combined the two homes, was this still a problem?
Yes.
So it hasn't been something that changed the way that the water's moving
No.
once they were connected?
No.
So even in the beginning, the silt was there. It just wasn't as deep.
The other house had, and there's still a dock there from 61. That's how we met our neighbor. He got stuck out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you owned your lot a long time, you said?
What's that?
You owned your property a long time?
I bought it in 2022.
22. So it was, already had a lot of silt in it when you bought it. It's not something that's changed.
When I purchased the home, the previous owners had a boat dock at the dock.
So it is something that's changed in the last few years. It's not worse.
And
That dock that was there when you first purchased it was, you can call it a dock, but I wouldn't walk out on it for love of money. Mine was the same way. I got out there and had to do some remedial work on it, but I moved it around to the lot, off the lot next door. So I moved my dock over to 61 line dock. I had a new dock built, brought in, but that's when I found out I don't have any water. I can barely get a pontoon boat in there now, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're asking for a whole lot. Now I know somebody talked about bringing in an excavator on our property with a long enough boom out there to reach out there, not dig up the bedrock, not disturbing the bottom of the lake, drag that stuff out. And of course, they were talking about just pile it on. I've got an extra lot beside there. Pile that stuff up out there, let it dry out, good fertilizer. I don't know about that, but I just want to do something while I'm still young enough to use it. We've been here for a while, 4 years, 5 years now, and we haven't got anything done. So, if anybody's got a good suggestion for me, I'll listen to it. Be glad to do what I do. I'm offered to pay for having it done. And that little piece of property that you said it's not a state, it's not a park.
Reserve property, yeah.
Okay.
From erosion.
Well, I know we keep half of that, half adjacent to us, we keep it maintained. We mow it, we have the dead trees and stuff that fall out. We have somebody come in and try to make that thing look nice. Matter of fact, I'd like to have the other side of it done, but a little bit expensive for me to do both of them, and I can't do anything with it. It's just there. So, anyway,
Okay, thank you, sir.
I've rambled on enough.
We will take a look. I'll be able to take a look at it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I speak last time.
MCC, ULLAR, yes.
My name is Deanna Davis, I live at 59 Cherokee Road. You said you're going to take all the fencing down at Omaha?
Yes.
Why can't they sell it?
We probably can for the weight, for the metal, but they'll have to take it down to be able to get the excavators and stuff in there. All of that will be removed.
Nobody could buy the fencing? I mean, that's a lot of fencing.
Well, once you pull it out of that concrete, then you kind of lose your leg for the fence to stand on. We had that same problem when we did the swimming pool at Thunderbird. We thought we could save the fencing that we were pulling out and put back in, and we ended up having to replace it. It's sunk down in that concrete, so you either cut it off or you bust that concrete up. It's not going to make the fences.
Okay, so they'll just sell it for the metal.
But we could get the weight for the metal off of it, yeah.
Okay, I just was curious.
She's gonna need a mic. She's gonna need a mic.
I'm also kind of loud, I don't know, I mean, that is. I just have a question.
What's your name?
Oh, Jan Hanson, 6 Arapahoe Road.
Pam?
Jan
Madison.
M-A-D-S-E-N, 6 Arapahoe, A-R-A-K-H-L. You were talking about the quick claims, and I just had kind of a question pop in my head, because there's a lot of flipping going on with foreclosures, and I wondered if the name was the same on the who came in and paid the arrears, so that
Yes.
you're writing it out to the person who paid it, not the quick claim, not necessarily, it might not necessarily be the original owner. That was just a thought that went through my head.
So what our situation that's coming up is that, let's say the original owner from 10 years ago, in 2022, it went into foreclosure, and they were able to go in and pay those back taxes.
The original owner was.
The original owner
Okay.
was. And so, like I said, in the old days with Commissioner of State Lands, they had that 10-day window.
Yeah.
I really think that 2022 foreclosure, they allowed that 10-day window, but then didn't deed them back the properties.
Yeah.
So-
But you can tell that you're right, you're making out the quick claim deed to the person that paid or was
Yes.
the original owner.
Yes, I was able to pull the receipt up on the AR County data, and it showed who paid